Lianne here with Paramount Real Estate Group. Today I'm here with Tiffany Lopez.
Hello.
And a topic that comes up a lot of the time is the appraisal process. So I'm going to have Tiffany answer some questions on what people are looking for in terms of appraisal. Will the appraisal work out okay? So I want to ask Tiffany, when it's coming to the loan, what is the process of the appraisal process?
So the appraisal process is handled by your lender. We're the ones that are going to order the appraisal on your behalf. And the point of the appraisal is to protect you as the buyer. We want to make sure that you're not overpaying for the value of the home, right? So the appraisal does have to come back and appraise at the purchase price. So if it comes back short, then you can go back to the seller, you can renegotiate, you can ask for them to reduce the purchase price, or you can choose to pay the difference on your own. But for a lender, we're looking that the appraisal comes back at value with the purchase price that you're offering to purchase.
Tiffany, how are you guys picking the appraiser? Do you guys have certain appraisers you use? Are you mandated to use certain ones?
We have a panel of appraisers and we have an appraisal department. So me as the lender will never reach out to the appraisal myself. The appraisal is ordered through my processor who goes to our appraisal department. They order the appraisal. They put out an appraisal request, and then depending on the appraisers on the panel that we have, they'll follow up if they want to take the offer or not.
Okay, good to know. So Tiffany, do all types of loans need to have an appraisal?
Yes, that's a tricky question. Yes, for the most part, unless you have, say, 20% down traditionally or more can get you what's called an appraisal waiver. But for most first-time home buyers who are putting the minimum down payment requirement, an appraisal will always be required.
So with the different type of loans, is the appraisal done differently? Are they looking for different things?
They are. So a conventional appraisal, they're going to be wanting to make sure that the property is worth the price and that it's safe to live in. FHA, they're going to be focused more on the value plus health and safety. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be similar to VA as well because they're both government loans. Okay. And so they're looking at health and safety such as chip paint, exposed wiring, your decks, making sure that the railing on the decks are safe and secure, a little bit further detailed than the traditional conventional.
Okay. So a lot of the time my buyers are saying, hey, I know I need to get an appraisal, but who's going to pay for it?
So the appraisal is the responsibility of the buyer. It's your appraisal to make sure that the home that you're purchasing is of value and that it's safe to live in. Most mortgage companies will often have you pay up front. They'll send you a credit card or a link, or they'll take a deposit. My company, personally, what we do is we invoice it for you. So we don't charge you anything until you're at closing. We'll invoice the appraisal. It'll be disclosed on your loan estimate so you know what to expect. And then when you get to closing and you wire your final assets to pay for the transaction, that's when the cost will be covered.
So what if you don't close?
If you don't close, that's a great question. Oftentimes as a lender, we've paid a lot of appraisals. We'll pay for the appraisal up front because we want to move the process faster because closing on time is our number one priority. If the appraisal comes back bad or if there's a problem, a lot of the time we'll cover it on behalf of the buyer because we know they're going to be shopping again and we want to put them in a new home and still have a positive experience. If a buyer just happens to decide not to purchase the home for no specific reason and they just don't want this house anymore, then the responsibility falls on the buyer.
Yeah, and a lot of the time for me as an agent, the appraisal process for a buyer is a great moment. Recently, I had a transaction where the appraisal came in actually pretty low. So it gives us a moment to renegotiate price. Sometimes it will not go well, but a lot of the time it will go great for our buyers because now we can maybe drop the price down a bit and be in a little bit more realistic market where they know that they'll be able to have a return on their investment.
And you always have the opportunity for the appraisal to come back higher.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have instant equity.
Right.
That happens often
That's
too.
a great moment.
That's a great moment too, yes.
And obviously, you're not sharing the appraisal with the seller unless they're wanting to see it. So it's just food for thought. It's something to bring to the table, and it's part of the negotiations. Well, thanks, Tiffany, for joining me today. Stay tuned for our next topic.
Thank you, Lianne.